Hello folks, Typhoon Carter here, and I bring to you DPP Revival Invitational 2. This is play-ins finals between Fruhdazi and Sossa, going by Ohio type beat. So this is for space bracket play-ins finals. This is obviously not going to be the only play-ins finals that we'll be covering today. But this will be the first one we're covering. The other one we're covering will be Django versus Lliolae. Anyways, so Fruhdazi had to go beat Quilly to get here, and he also had to beat Blahad Blast, I think that's how you pronounce it, in the first round. Sossa had to beat Bynum, and the other opponent was Batty to get here. So both players one series away from punching their ticket to main event. This should be an exciting matchup. However, whoever loses here obviously gotta be heartbroken, being so close to main event. Regardless though, we got a series to cover. Let's jump right in. So we got Rotom lead into a Tyranitar lead. So Rotom here could find a huge Will-O-Wisp. Now if it's Scarf Tar into a defensive Rotom, this Rotom is still gonna be okay because it will cripple the T-Tar for good. Although those crunches will hurt real bad, but if it's like CB Tar, it'll still hurt. But Rotom will usually go first anyways, because it should be faster than CB Tar. But anyways, if it's defensive Tar, then Rotom's chilling. But Will-O-Wisp misses there, and instead Sossa's got Stealth Rocks up here. He might regret that. That might have been his best shot to get rid of that Rotom. Skarm's gonna go out there. I mean, Rocks is a fine play there. Spikes into a Clef. Clef's gonna get the knockoff here. Shed Shell's removed. If Sossa has a mag, you better do it now. Fruhdazi's got to take his 2 layers of spikes. Could have also whirlwinded there if he thought a Magneton was coming. Would have been a really smart play, but a Magneton on Fruhdazi's end's got a revenge kill. Probably has Hidden Power Ground based on how he's playing this. Yep, it is. This does means that it's lacking HP Ice, and Gliscor's going to show up, so that tells me that Fruhdazi probably has some other counterplay to Dragons. Anyways, Rotom's going to show up here. Got friend a Will-O-Wisp here. Clef is going to take this. I'm going to speed this up because we're going to be in for a long one here. Clef's going to show up. Going to eat the knockoff here. Unfortunately, Gliscor looks like it does not pack Taunt. And really, I'd say the big thing here to pay attention in this matchup is really how both players are going to manage their Clef. Because a lot of times, the only thing standing between Clef is, well, their own Clefable. And also, Clef is also the main thing that's going to be handling hazards. And this is really why Clef is sometimes viewed as a bit of an unnecessary evil for DPP, although some people will say that it should be banned. I'm kind of neutral on that opinion. I can sympathize with why people would want it banned, especially while this Clef mirror is going on. The other thing I would say on Sossa's team is that really you see how Gliscor in Gen 4 really suffers from having 4 move slot syndrome. A lot, because a lot of times Gliscor is already a great Pokemon on its own, has a great defensive typing, like Ground Flying goes a long way. Hello Lando T in later gens. And then the other thing I would say is that really Gliss has like a ton of great moves. It has Taunt, it has decent coverage, it has, a Stab EQ, it has Roost, like, everything you want, except really a lot of times when you're using Gliscor, you really wish it had that one extra move, like that one extra move slot, and you really see it here on display, because if he has Taunt, for example, he's in a good spot, but that also means that he can't necessarily boost up and keep Taunt because you want the longevity, right? So these are kind of things you have to think about when you're building with Gliscor, and these are kind of the important builder decisions here. And knocks off on the Swampert, gonna get Rocks up. So yeah, we're gonna be in for a long one here. If Sossa, okay, there's a Scarm, so yeah, Hazard's gonna go flying for sure. There's a spike up there. Rotom's got naturally threaten this, and Clef standing in the way of Rotom. And really, a lot of times you see how Clef, a lot of times on these stall teams, serves as the primary answer for something like a Rotom, right? Like, Rotom's only really stopped by Clef, and don't forget, like, Paint Split Rotom, like, that's also a very annoying set, and it's a very underrated stall breaker sometimes. And Magneton's gonna show up here on the spike, but it's obviously Shed Shell. Thunderbolt's there. I really don't get that from Fruhdazi unless you were trying to, Flash Cannon, but Latias got threatened this Gliscor out perhaps. And fearing the Ice Beam there. That's why Sossa swapped out. Dragon Pulses into a Clef here, and it's gonna eat a knockoff, but this Latias going to probably get a huge boost up here. Calm Mind's here. Might be carrying Hidden Part Fighting if he's willing to stay in like this. Oh, instead gets a huge Dragon Pulse crit there. That could be quite crucial. And that T-Tar probably was not expected to take that much damage. That's actually pretty unfortunate, as that T-Tar's gonna go down. Could have stayed in a little bit longer to try and get, like, you know, a KO later, but Milotic's gonna show up. I think Ladon might have used something similar to this, or at least this team that Sossa's building gives off a lot of Ladon vibes. I think he might have used something similar to this. Actually, no, I don't think he quite used the same thing versus Laurel last year, but anyways, with that being said though, Seismic Toss is here into a Swampert. Swampert's gonna heal back up to full. Skarner's gonna just get nailed by this Ice Beam crit, unfortunately, and Milotic's gonna show up, but Milotic not really doing a whole lot because Clef and Rotom both sit on it. And what you really want to take away from this is just see how, you know, Sossa's Clef is just being asked to do a lot. Oh, gets a freeze there with the Ice Bag, so Sossa finally gets a break. Sossa, I wouldn't bother switching out here. You have to go for broke here. This is your best chance to win. You're behind, and Rotom's going to... He swaps out. I don't know about that. I feel like if you have to bank on the Rotom staying frozen, I think Sossa might have let that chance get away from him. And, you know, that aside though, I think Sossa's had a very, very strong last couple months here, especially with DPP Cup. I think he made semifinals of that tournament. And, you know, so he's been doing real well for himself. And, oh, instead got eat a huge T-Bow, not what the Milo wants to see. Milo is trying to, you know, punch through this Rotom with a crit, but that's not going to do. Rest is here. And Milo's going to recover, but you have to be scared of a T-Bow from a Sleep Talk roll. Will-O-Wisp is there, so that Clef will be able to get a Wish off, and really, I would pay attention to the PP management there. Because I think this Rotom, as long as it's alive, because Clef just simply does not do enough to Rotom, this Rotom's going to be put on a limited timer. And it's just going to be worn down so much as this game progresses. Knocks off there, and T-Bolts once more, and sometimes Wish Protect Clefable can be really tough to break through. It's good especially against breakers like Kingdra, which rely a lot on Clef not having that extra lefties recovery from Protect. Especially against rain teams. Reminds me of a game when I think I played against On Barge last year in Cup when I had Wish Protect Clef, and that kind of saved me from, you know, getting overwhelmed by rain. Just stalling out those rain turns, so that's kind of the power of Protect. You don't necessarily see it in full display here, although it's interesting to see both players actually carrying Wish Protect Clef. But normally, one thing I would say about these teams is that it does tend to get overwhelmed by Spike's hyper offenses, which if Fruhdazi is carrying that could have also been a huge problem. Rest is here, and sometimes Gliscor can be a gatekeeper against those kind of teams. Like, you know, it's got just good enough speed where it just outspeeds a lot of key threats, but, like, you know, it's so versatile in its you know, spreads, even though I was criticizing Gliscor earlier for, you know, 4 move slot syndrome. But anyways, we see this Clef here, go Wish up here, probably gonna get the Protect off. Fruhdazi knows that, going to use his turn to get a Rest off. And oh, Fruhdazi could have just ended the game right there if he just clicked T-Bolt, but he wanted to conserve PP. And yeah, I mean, Fruhdazi's down to 11 PP on that Thunderbolt, so, you know, he can't keep spamming it for sure, but as long as he keeps putting pressure on this Clefable, just making Clefable waste moves, then, you know, yeah, keep going for that Wisp, because it's actually, you don't have any real downside for the time being. S-Toss is there, and could threaten a crit, could do it, but no, I mean, Fruhdazi's in the single digits now for T-Bolt PP. Yeah, look at that, it's down to 9 now. And yeah, no Sleep Talk burnt there, because again, you want to preserve that. You want to conserve your resources a little bit. You don't want to go burning it all up, especially this late in the game, because you want to keep some T-Bolt PP for Milotic. And Milotic, you know, I mean, it's not always a Stallmon. You see in Gen 4, although one thing interesting about Milo is that in terms of moveset choices. I mean, it can sometimes run Hidden Power Electric. I think Bruno or Anti. I think I'm not even sure what he prefers, but I know he uses both of those aliases. Ran something like a Hidden Power Milotic like a couple years ago in SPL back during his, I think it was like his 7-2 campaign or something like that. Something along those lines, but T-Bolt's there and S-tosses once more. So, you know, Rotom putting in overtime here. Oh, huge crit there though, and that might do it. Yeah, because Clef can't protect freely at all, and now Sossa's his last chances is Gliscor. Gliscor SD's up here. Gotta get Will-O-Wisp though. That's it. I think that Gliscor is probably out of commission unless he gets a critical hit. And great play there from Sossa, trying to SD up there, trying to get a last-ditch effort. And his Swamper's gonna take a lot of hazard damage. No crit. Ice Beam's there. That's it. Fruhdazi's got to take this game 1, and he's going to be on match point. So really nicely done from Fruhdazi there. And for Sossa, I think there were some missed opportunities there for him, like that Gliscor and the Rotom sequence. I think you could not afford to play like a coward there. Don't switch out when you're at +2, because I think he could have easily ended the game right there and then. So I think he's probably kicking himself, you know, for kind of letting that get away from him. And but that's that though, you know, like you really see how Clef can get overwhelmed resources wise sometimes. Like it lost so much PP over the course of the entire game that like Fruhdazi was firmly ahead of the Clef mirror resource management, if you want to call it that. But you know, enough said though. We still have a game 2 to cover. Again, Fruhdazi on match point. He's 1 win away from punching his ticket to main event. Sossa back against the wall. What's he gonna do? See Azelf lead into a Zapdos lead. So Azelf here could either taunt this Zapdos, risk losing its sash, or just getting Stealth Rocks up. A couple ways this could play out. No, just got T-Wave there, crippled at Zapdos. Zapdos gotta show substitute. Gotta get Stealth Rocks up there. Full paras. You need to like taunt now. No, not even gonna bother doing that. Zapdos. So his sub's gonna be broken up there. Toxic is gonna be shown. So Sub-Tox Zapdos, normally not a bad pick against offense, and that was a great opener by Fruhdazi, getting that T-Wave off, ensuring that Sub-Zap loses its biggest advantage in speed control. Earth Power's there. Sossa's gonna get T-Spikes up, but that may or may not matter, because a lot of these hyper offenses, a lot of times they only have one grounded poke that can really be hurt by that. Clef's gonna show up here. Fire Blast is there. I mean, you better have Taunt. Yeah, Heatrans gonna show up with Taunt there. Taunt Trans been kind of a newer thing we've been seeing, especially this past SPL, and it's a really great way to get past Clef, and you see it on full display here. Clef can only S-Toss here, and this tells me that Sossa doesn't have a Laddie, because I think if you had a Laddie, you had to have shown it there. Hippo's just got EQ'd there, a bit hasty. I think he was always... I would have taken my rocks there. Yeah, Sossa just off to a bad start, but really, I think on that turn on the Heatran, I think you had to go for Stealth Rocks there. That was your best shot, but now this Hippo might not even get that up. Rotom's going to show up here, going to spin block this Tentacruel. That might be a Scarf Rotom, and just got a Shadow Ball as a mid-ground there, and cover the Hippo switch as well. Hippo will at least finally get rocks up at the very least, but Laddie's going to show up, going to get a huge trick off perhaps, because I think against these stall teams, a lot of times you just want to trick right away. Zapdos is going to come in here, going to be the trick fodder, so Sossa may have not had a better option to deal with this. And Fruhdazi so far ahead, and this game could be over soon. And Zapdos is going to heal right back up to full, so Toxic is going to kick in a little bit. But because it's Choice Lock, it means you can take advantage of this pretty comfortably. Jirachi's going to show up though, and that might be a sub-CM Jirachi. Sub's up here, and Fire Blast going to at least break the sub. Earth Power here as a mid-ground probably would work. Earth Power's here. I mean, if you're going to explode, now's a good time to do so. But Rotom's going to show up. Going to try to get another trick off perhaps. If that is Scarf Rotom, which I'm inclined to think it is. Oh, there's the Choice Scarf. So yes, Sossa is just kind of getting picked apart by this offense team. And you really see how Hyper Offense deals with stall, like just through lots of trick usage. Oh, Celebi's the last there. Yeah, I don't really like this 6 from Sossa. I mean, I know it was like have a trendy 6 that, you know, Fakes was using last Invitational, or some version of it anyways. But really, I think it's just way too grounded, even though, yes, you have to Tentacruel, but you really see what happens here when Tentacruel can't get that spin off. I think you just really need a better way to punish Rotom. And that's kind of one of the major downfalls of this 6, even though you do have Subtox Zap, but if you're getting Parrot like that, it's like not a good place to be in. And I get it, because like, you know, you couldn't have, you know, Clef's not doing much against Azel when you just click Taunt, but Fire Blast is there, pressure is gonna kick in, and it's out of Fire Blast PP, but you just have to explode here. Explodes indeed, and EQ's there, so Hippo's locked into that, and Empole, probably still faster in this Hippo, going to get that KO. And this might be sub Pataya Empoleon. Oh, lands the Thunder there, yep, so it's sub CM Ironhead, Thunder, Jirachi, and Rotom's going to eat this up. Thunder's here, so, you know, Jirachi could try to Ironhead flinch its way past the Rotom, but we'll have to see. Oh, not gonna get that though, unfortunately. Not even one flinch, so that he could try to sub and get his way out of this. And oh, not even gonna get flinched twice, so the Rotom will go down at the very least, but Selby's gonna show up into the Scizor. Hinpower fires here, but he still had the Azelf to boom on it, and that's it. So Fruhdazi's gonna move on to main event. Congratulations to Fruhdazi. For Sossa, extremely heartbreaking to be this close to making main event. But Fruhdazi's gonna win this series 2-0. And before I move on to the next play-in series, if you guys enjoyed these videos, consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and donating to DPP Revival Invitational 2's prize pool. Once again, we will update the main event prize pool, or sorry, the prize pool come main event, so hopefully that should be soon. Anyways, that being said though, we have another play-in series to cover. Yeah, and we got Django versus Lliolae as the second series of our play-ins finals, and we have this for time bracket. Lliolae, he's been on fire, he's looked real sharp, real clean in these games, like just looked very dominant. Django, he's played some very solid games himself. Needless to say though, let's just jump right into this. So we got Zapdos lead into an Empoleon lead, and Empoleon's gotta want to get out of there, and Clef's gonna show up. Got T-Bolt there, and Clef is going to threaten a knock, and Django's his Clef answers his own Clef. So we got some Clef on Clef action here, and we're gonna be due for a long one here. And really not surprising to see both players bringing Clef. You want to bring reliable teams. You want to, like, this is play-ins finals. This is, you know, your best shot at, you're one series away from making main event. Huge knockoff there, and Empoleon's going to come right in. Abomasnow's going to show up on Django's. I think Django's brought this team before. It's got to be a double spinner action in the back here. I think it's usually Starmie, and then you got Donphan as the two last. You want two spinners, especially because you want to be able to deal with this. Oh, huge wood hammer there. Just got to take out that T-Tar. So great play from Django there. Lliolae was expecting a Leech Seed perhaps. Starmie's going to show up, and now it's going to be able to spin freely unless Lliolae has a ghost, which I highly doubt is the case. Huge T-Wave there, and Starmie's going to do 44% with Brave Bird, but Starmie can heal this right back up. And honestly, if you're going to take the knock, just take it with Starmie. Yeah, you're going to eat the knockoff. Okay, no big deal. You can live with this. Why you can live with this? This is mostly because... Oh yeah, and Django's not bringing Abomasnow right back out just yet, because one, that means your Heatran's going to be permanently chip damaged for the rest of this game and whatnot. But you know, that said, whew, Clef on Clef action, nothing too surprising. Starmie's gonna come right back in. There's the rapid spin, and S-Toss is there and recovers once more, and there you go. So We're gonna be in for a long haul. As tosses again. And really long term, that Obama Snow is probably the biggest threat right now to Lliolae's team, right? Because like even though you have Skarm, Empel can't really take a Wood Hammer. Skarm's annoyed by a possible, you know, like Leech Seed, like just draining its health away, right? So these are the things that you gotta be really thinking about, and then go recover there just in case of a Grass Knot, but no Grass Knot from the looks of it, because otherwise that was super free, so we can conclude that the Empole doesn't have that, or is lacking that at least. Starmie's really just trying to make this Clef waste as much Seismic Toss PP as possible, and really this is kind of one of the great things you see. Oh, great double there from Django, and Zapdos into that Empoleon here, and Gliscor's gonna show up, so Gliss Mag wouldn't surprise me, but Empoleon Glisk, yeah, I think the last here is usually like a Rotom? It might not be, I'm trying to remember, because I think I've used a similar 6 to this before. There's a Fire Fang. Oh, I didn't run Fire Fang on this, but Fire Fang makes a ton of sense if your team has a major Scizor weakness. Oh, Donphan's finally gonna show up here. Donphan could obviously find a knock on this Gliscor right about now. Ice Shards instead, and Skarm's gonna take that pretty comfortably. Zapdos gonna show up, so Hail's gonna be the weather condition for the rest of this game. Don't forget this is important because this means that Empoleon can actually take a permanent chip damage every time it comes in. Huge Toxic there, and that's gonna put Django up big time. Yeah, and the reason why Lliolae didn't go to Clef right away. Oh, Protect Tox. Okay, yeah, Protect Zapdos is very underrated. You don't see that super often, but it's actually really good, especially on T-Spike style builds. But with Toxic, yeah, that makes sense too, because it lets you scout out choice attackers and whatnot. Oh, huge roar there into the Obama Snow. Obama Snow's got to heal right back up to full, and this Empoleon now is under a lot of duress here, and that Empoleon's gonna go down right about now. Skarm's gonna show up, got a friend of Brave Bird naturally, and Donphan's going to eat this up. Oh, Laddie's the last here. Yeah, Latias makes sense because Infernape would just teabag this 6 otherwise. That's what I was thinking of, not Rotom, Jesus Christ. Anyways, yeah, this Clef on Django's end, and then you got the Obama Snow. Zapdos gonna show up here, and this might be a very bulky Zapdos if it's comfortable swapping in like this. Probably Spadef invested too, wouldn't be surprised. There you go, and there's the Toxic, so no Toxic miss there, and you know, things are looking pretty good if you're Django. This is gonna be a very, very slow death, especially with the way this game is playing out. Obviously you have the Heatran that can be an option too, but again, I mean, every percent it takes, it's gonna stick on for good. And this is kind of really the power of Hail we see here, and we see how it works in Django's favor, but also how it works against Django. And oh, that might be a hidden part ground. Their question is he gonna go into Clef here? Oh, okay, yeah, Lliolae not even gonna bother playing that out. And Django's gonna win this game 1, so he's on match point here. And Lliolae already on the brink of potential elimination, especially this far into the tournament. But needless to say though, let's just jump right into game 2. Gotta swap viewpoints for continuity. Here we go. So Hippowdon into a Skarmory lead, so even if it's back against the wall, Lliolae's just saying screw this, I'm bringing a Hippo out. Skarm could be hyper offense, could be stall, we don't know for sure. Instant mag. Oh, that taunt might be a mistake there. Take your rocks, because it's going down anyways. I would, yeah, makes sense there. Taunt not really a mistake, it's just Lliolae made a great read there, and Metagross is going to naturally threaten this. Oh, huge trick there, nicely done, and gets rid of Shed Shell. So that Skarm's gonna be grounded for the rest of the game, and that Meta also can escape a Mag Trap now, funnily enough. Whirlwind's there, and Metagross is gonna show up. Yeah, I'd just start clicking EQ here, cowboy. But nice double there from Django into Suicune, and Lliolae just great awareness to just spike up knowing he can take one. Brave Bird's there. That's Scar. That's gone. She gone. But Meg's obviously threatened a revenge kill here, and what's the follow-up going to be? Because I think some of these hyper offense teams really struggle having a proper electric answer, and if Rotom's your answer, you're in trouble. And this Rotom here forced a Hydro Pump. I mean, I get it, because you think Lliolae might stay in, makes sense. But this Clef will show up here. Yeah, mashing in case of a potential Rotom. And oh, that is not good. Thunderbolts here. EQs, and Django might not have Boom if he's playing it out like this. But okay, it finally shows the Boom. Gets rid of the Clef, but you're down a Steel Resist. And that Jirachi now looks like a huge threat here. And you can protect here, and Trick's going to render this Rotom null. And this is going to be a real fast one. Magneton's going to show up here. Could obviously threaten a T-Wave on this Latias. But Jirachi's going to show up here into this Calm Mind Lati. And could obviously threaten it with HP Fire. That's exactly what it is. And it's a Life Orb for that matter. So that is not what Lliolae wants to see. But Protects here is going to at least keep it out of range for now. And you really see the downsides of Life Orb here, especially with Sand just kind of wearing it down. Lliolae was probably just okay letting that go, or banking on, like, you know, a low roll perhaps. Mag's gonna just do its thing here, and Latias going to show up. Going to just threaten Dracos all around, or a CM. And yeah, you really see why some of these Skarm hyper offenses really wishes it had a T-Tar sometimes, so that when you don't, and even something like Metagross gets taken out of the picture, you really see how Latias just goes off sometimes in these matchups, and that might be a CM Lucario. Calm Mind's up here, and Hippo will probably not be KO'd by this. Yep, not gonna be KO'd by this. I think it's also looking like a roll. Just click EQ, and then no crit there. And that Lucario is going to go down. And now this Rotom's gonna go God mode here. And Magneton's gonna be able to threaten a T-Wave right back and then put this Rotom out of commission for good. And Lliolae's gonna take this game too. And we're gonna be going to a game 3 more or less when this Rotom finally goes down. Yeah, really well played from Lliolae, and really I'd say the big takeaway here is you really see the structural flaws that Django's Skarm hyper offense has. Like, this is generally why I want to have Mixgon on these kind of teams, or like, you know, Tyranitar, so that you can deal with electrics better. Like Django's team, like the electric counterplay, like the zap counterplay is like a bit all over the place. Like off zap would go nuts here. Like all you need is, like, yeah, you get one turn run of Latias, it's like all of a sudden you're in huge trouble. Sub zap would also be a headache. You know, like sub zap would actually, like, I wouldn't say it would 6-0, but oh man, it would do numbers on this kind of team. And then Lliolae's team, you know, a bit more bog standard maxed on. You really see how, even though CM Lucario was meant to take advantage of stuff like this, it's like being able to limit the hazards and whatnot did a lot. And anyways, that being said though, we have a game 3. So game 3 here, whoever wins this is gonna punch their ticket in the main event from Time Bracket. And unfortunately, one of these players is gonna leave heartbroken. So Hippowdon lead, so we got, we're in for a long one here. Stalmir here, game 3, back against the wall, makes sense. A takers on whether this is going to be a mirror match or not. Spikes here, I mean, there's probably gonna be a Clef in the back too. Whirlwinds out here into a Cradilly. Oh man, yeah, he brought this in round 1 against Track. Yeah, it's probably like Lati, Clef, and then, jeez, I'm forgetting the second one. Oh, Quagsire gonna show up here, but it's probably, it's probably because Lliolae knows that it's not Seed Bomb, it's Rock Slide Quake. Tries to encore here. Gotta be met with no success. Whirlwind's here. There's the Jirachi. Jirachi's gonna hate seeing these hazards flying around. And sometimes, yeah, these stall teams they're not always the most adequately equipped to take on opposing hazards, even though they lay out hazards themselves. You know what they say, if you can they can't really take it even though they dish it, or something like that. Anyways, Clef's gonna show up here, probably gonna get a knock. Okay, I guess he doesn't have knock, perhaps. I think if he had knock, he should have clicked it years ago, but Ice Beam's here, and yeah, really just hoping for some full paras early on. And I'm gonna speed this up. So yeah, just nothing overly interesting. Oh, there's the Hippo. Perhaps the Scar might have Toxic, but just got Brave Bird there, try to put some pressure on Hippo. Hippo is going to obviously threaten it right back. Oh, tries to EQ, predicting a Roost, not gonna get that, but Latias is going to be a threat. Psywave's there. Psywave is kind of an old classic that on Latias you don't see that often. It's kind of like, you know, a Craigslist seismic toss, for lack of a better word for why you might see it. Softboil's here, Roar's here, Lattie's gonna show up. So Lliolae's is full hand revealed, and oh, it's a Roar Laddie, so it might be CM Roar Laddie or just defensive Laddie that happens to have Roar. There's the Clef, gonna show up on Django's end here, and it's a CM Clef here, so you know, double win con, that kind of stuff. And this Clef could obviously put a lot of pressure right about now, and Quagsire obviously could threaten to get an encore off, but not gonna quite get the KO there. Ice Beam's there, try to look for a freeze. Oh man, we're gonna be here for a while, and Quagsire's got EQ, try to bait the Clef into you know, CMing up or into an encore. So yeah, you really see the mind game there between Django and Quagsire. Oh, Lliolae gets that turn right and finally locks the Clef at a bad time. Yeah, because if he got that wrong, that could have spelled an early exit for Lliolae. We're 37 turns in, you know. Django still hasn't revealed his full team. But then again, he also still hasn't eaten his shoe on stream. Like he claimed he would all those years ago. Anyways, though, but Latias is gonna get our Psywave off. And Psywave's damage calculation, if I recall, is like a little bit janky, where it's like, I think it's like based on your current HP among some other stuff. Slacks off here and gonna get whirlwinded out. Cradilly's probably gonna heal itself back up to full if it doesn't get crit there. Going to avoid a Brave Bird crit, so it's gonna live to see another day for the time being. And Cradilly, a real threatening sweeper. I know Bruno kind of spoke a little bit about its potency as a mon. CM's up here, and oh man, we're getting right into a setup war here perhaps. Dragon Pulse is there, only doing 30%, so you really see the power of Sand boosting Spadef. Just really making these setup sweepers very viable here, and this is just a crit me not situation. Quagsire's finally gonna show up here and probably gonna try forcing our Encore, but Encore as a counterplay is still not really that sustainable long term, especially because of the fact that one, you could be locked into a real bad move. And also, yeah, again, like it's one crit away from, you know, just being sent out of here. Oh, gets the freeze. Lliolae finally getting what he's looking for. I mean, you gotta get rid of this thing fast. Is it gonna remain frozen? No, Rotom's the last here. Yeah, makes sense. Django used this in round 1 of play-ins. Oh, there's the sub. Yeah, Rotom. Sub Rota, a very underrated stall breaker, especially when it can just do this all day and just threaten this Clef right back. And then Whisk there, he's doing that so that he can make his sub last a little bit longer. And Wisp right into a Clef, and that means that the Wisp is going to or the sub's gonna last a little bit longer, and Roden's gonna be able to get a Will-O-Wisp off to cripple this Latias. Oh, misses there. He just cannot land anything today with this whips. He's like 1 of 5 there. Oh no. Has a batting average comparable to Lliolae right now. Finally lands one. And this Latias is going to try to CM up here, try to get itself right back up to full. Oh man, now Django is just praying right now that he can get this. He's just trying to hope for a crit. Yeah, a crit's his only way out of this. And Latias, honestly, I would consider roaring at some point. Dragon Pulse is here, okay. Oh, I think Lliolae's chances just went out the window and he's just got forfeit. So Django's going to move on to main event, and congratulations to him. And Lliolae, thank you for playing. Extremely heartbreaking to see him go out this way. That is brutal, because I think Django legitimately had no way to deal with that Latias outside of a Shadow Ball crit, and a Shadow Ball over Thunderbolt there really paid off big time, and you really see how, you know, like it at least gave him a chance to fish for that crit in the first place. And then like, this is kind of one of the things with T-Bolt is like, sometimes if you're not running T-Bolt and you're running S-Ball instead of Pain Split Wisp, it's like, it can net you moments like these, and then you really see how Lliolae's chances to attack, where like, you know, there were times where he wished he could have just attacked instead of, you know, roosting up and whatnot. You really see on full display here, and that is tough, man. Heartbreaking for Lliolae. But that being said, though, congratulations to Django, and if you guys enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe, and consider donating to DPP Revival Invitational 2's prize pool, and I will see you guys next time.